Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes have just answered the Bloodlines challenge, but a new fan concern is emerging. Can Cody fully trust Seth Rollins? So when everything originally jumped off between Roman Reigns, The Rock, Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes, one of the first few theories we lightly touched on was the idea of Seth Rollins potentially being the one to betray Cody Rhodes during night 2 because of the history and motive there for Seth to pull something like that off. We haven't touched on that theory much more than that because there really wasn't any story, clues, or hints leading in that direction. Well, no hints leading in that direction until the March 4th edition of Raw, that is. On this episode of Raw, Cody Rhodes comes out to address The Rock's 20-minute long promo and respond to the Bloodlines counteroffer for the tag team match at WrestleMania 40 Night 1. Shortly after Cody starts speaking, he's joined by his newly formed close ally, Seth Rollins. And Seth starts firing some shots at Roman and Cody, as expected. But what wasn't expected was a very brief and subtle moment of when Seth Rollins threw up the same L-shaped hand gesture that we've seen The Rock throw up during the Bloodlines pose. And that's been another popular topic of discussion within this story in recent weeks that we've been talking about. Week after week, The Rock continues to do the Bloodline pose wrong by making an L gesture with his hand, instead of doing it solely with the index finger pointing up. And we saw the most recent edition of Smackdown. Paul Heyman finally took notice of The Rock's wrong hand gesture, and it appears that Heyman is starting to grow suspicious of The Rock's true intentions. So there's already a lot of suspicion and theories floating around with The Rock's constant mysterious use of that L gesture. And now with the March 4th edition of Raw, we saw Seth Rollins sneaking in the same L hand gesture. And it wasn't very obvious by Seth Rollins. It was a very subtle, very quick, and blink if you miss it sort of thing. Almost as if they really didn't want us to see it. But fans caught it, and now that's once again raising new suspicions for the theory of Seth Rollins betraying Cody Rhodes. Is this L hand gesture some sort of top secret plan that Seth Rollins and The Rock have formed together that both Roman and Cody are completely left in the dark and clueless about? It sounds pretty insane, but at the same time, it sounds extremely possible. Maybe Seth and The Rock formed this plan privately behind the scenes, but we can see why the two of them might come together. Cody Rhodes basically did wrong by Seth Rollins and The Rock. Basically, Cody screwed the two of them over with his WrestleMania selection. Cody gave The Rock permission to face Roman at WrestleMania 40, before changing his mind a few days later, which only angered The Rock. And like he said on social media's promo, it's okay for people to change their mind, but The Rock thought the way Cody handled the situation of changing his mind very wrongly. So that's The Rock's big issue with Cody Rhodes. Cody took away that big dream family match away from the Bloodline in a bad fashion to him. So that's The Rock's big issue with Cody Rhodes. Cody took away that big family dream match away from the Bloodline in a bad fashion to him. And for Seth Rollins, you can argue that no one has more motive to turn on Cody than Seth himself. Cody embarrassed and humiliated Seth Rollins back in the year of 2022. 3 straight sweep losses is what Seth suffered to Cody. Cody Rhodes even beat Seth Rollins with a completely destroyed and torn pec. Talk about an embarrassing loss for Seth Rollins. Can't even beat someone who suffered through a torn pec. It was 3 of the most embarrassing and humiliating losses Seth Rollins has ever suffered. So as much as Seth says that he's put it all behind him, how do we truly know that he has put that behind him? Maybe those losses still bother Seth Rollins to this day. And on top of that bad history with Cody from several years ago, Cody also disrespected Seth just a few months back after the Royal Rumble. Cody Rhodes appeared to have made his WrestleMania selection almost instantly after winning the Royal Rumble. He didn't think things over or entertain the idea of challenging Seth Rollins in the World Heavyweight title at all. Even despite 2 big pitches from Seth, Cody basically dismissed Seth and the World Heavyweight title from his WrestleMania selection right away. So you've got these 3 losses in 2022, and the disrespect of Cody not even considering challenging Seth Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania 40. 2 big things that could have Seth Rollins seething at the opportunity to attack Cody Rhodes and take him out. So, with Cody Rhodes being the common enemy here between Seth and The Rock, was that enough to make them form some sort of top secret plan that they'll execute together at WrestleMania to both get what they want? If this is the plan and they're working together, maybe the end goal is The Rock betraying Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins betraying Cody Rhodes. All the motives and reasonings for those betrayals do check off perfectly. And you also have to consider the stipulation that's added to the tag team match as well. If Cody and Seth win, there's no bloodline interference on night 2. And it's extremely hard to picture a world where The Rock or Roman Reigns gets pinned in the tag team. But for the sake of this theory, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Cody and Seth win the tag team match. Well, Cody and everyone else will assume that beating Roman without any help from the bloodline will be easy. But what if Seth Rollins comes down to the ring on night 2 and he's the one to betray Cody Rhodes and put that final nail in Cody's coffin regarding finishing the story? A betrayal finish like that would most likely split these 4 men back up into 2 big feuds. Fans had no interest in seeing Cody versus Seth at WrestleMania 40, but maybe given a big moment like this, maybe Cody versus Seth would be exciting again coming off that big betrayal moment. And assuming Seth Rollins is still world champion, they can now do Cody versus Seth for the world title with the extra backstory added to the feud about how Seth cost Cody that match with Roman and betrayed his trust. And for the Roman Reigns side of things, maybe Roman is laughing and living it up that Cody lost for the 2nd year in a row and is now out of his hair, likely for good. But the big looming threat there for Roman's title reign would obviously be The Rock, pulling off something similar to Seth and betraying Roman as well. And if you go back to the final moments during Cody and Seth's conversation on the March 4th edition of Raw, there's even some moments there of Seth Rollins giving Cody Rhodes some very weird and dirty looks. And again, maybe it's nothing. Maybe Seth is just fired up to take down the bloodline. But between the dirty looks, the secret hidden matching hand gesture to The Rock, and all their bad history together, we just can't fully clear Seth Rollins' name off the list of suspicion until we actually see results of WrestleMania. Because as of this very moment, the idea of seeing Seth Rollins betray Cody Rhodes may be the real unexpected surprise route to take here that not a lot of fans would be ready for. Everyone is expecting the bloodline to interfere with the night 2 main event. We saw it at last year's WrestleMania. We've seen it all throughout Roman's title reign. Interference is always expected in his matches at this point. The number 2 most expected twist would be The Rock betraying Roman Reigns. That's something that a lot of fans are talking about and basically expecting to see at WrestleMania 40. But the idea of Seth Rollins turning on Cody Rhodes, it appears to be the least talked about WrestleMania twist amongst the community. So the next few weeks will be extremely interesting. And we'll have to keep our eyes on Seth and The Rock to see if they give each other any more hidden messages. Cody Rhodes not only had to keep his eye on the bloodline, but he better keep looking over his shoulder at Seth Rollins just in case, because as much as Seth has pledged his loyalty to Cody, we can't forget that Seth is the same man that betrayed his brothers in the Shield and turned on them of all people. So if Seth could turn on the Shield, then betraying Cody Rhodes really would be a breeze to him. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.